Everybody has been insanely hyped for the KvK that we've got coming up, where 6 Imperiums were going to do battle. And so, when reset hit for matchmaking, everybody was super hyped to see who got paired up in this KvK. And when you tap the Strife of the 8 indicator to see what happens, what the... Hello, my friends, and welcome back. I'm Chisgule Gaming, and today I'm talking about the Strife of the 8 KvK that we registered for, that we planned for. That was going to be one of the biggest KvKs the game would have. 6 Imperium kingdoms were going to queue up, and in fact, had queued up for this insane KvK, including the number 1, the number 2, the number 3 Imperiums by power. This was going to be a monster KvK. So what in the world has happened? No opponent found. Well, of course, everybody starts to reach out to their support contacts. I'm getting pinged like crazy on Discord. Chisgule, what's happening? Save me, Chisgule. So I reach out to my support contact as well, and we all get back something that says to the effect of, we couldn't make a fair and balanced KvK, and so no opponent was found is what's listed here. We just couldn't make 8 war camps that were fair and balanced and even. And it's like, oh my gosh. No, no, no. This can't be happening. So, of course, out come all the memes. In terms of KvK, ... we have no KvK. And the minions are all here. That's us. We're the minions. 1075, 1254, 1846, 1556. And then you've got 1306 and 960 around the corner, just kind of peeking in. You know why? You know why? Because they actually got put into this KvK. They actually have KvK now. So we're not in KvK. They are in this KvK. All these kingdoms were told, nope, can't make it happen. Here's another one, right? 846, 254, 1075, 556. We're all vibing, right? Vibing over that Strife of the 8. Nah, hold on, nah. What was another one? There's so many of these. Devs checking to make sure no Imperium's under Strife of the 8. And then he's back in the bar. How did he get back in the bar? He just got thrown out of the bar. He's back in. Anyways, so there's a lot of these jokes. I actually came up with a joke of my own to describe the situation. Do you want to hear it? All right, so here's my joke about the situation. You ready? 6 Imperiums walk into a bar. 1 is out for blood. 2 just want a good, clean fight. 1 wanted a good ally. 1 ran out of skips. And 1, ideally, might have waited a little bit longer to try to get just 1 more ticket, you know? Just 1 more ticket would make the difference. And the bartender walks up and says, I understand you Imperiums are all here to spend a lot of money at my bar. The Imperiums all nod their head. The bartender takes a few moments to think about it. The bartender ponders and then suddenly says, I'm so sorry, but you'll just have to take your business elsewhere. So that's what the situation is. All these Imperiums queued up. We were ready to fight. We were hyped. We were so pumped about this legendary freaking KvK. But let me show you the stats of some of these kingdoms to talk about, like, why is it perhaps that they couldn't get matched up together? So first of all, I do want to point out that there were 46 kingdoms that were registered. So of all these 46 kingdoms, I would assume that in Lilith's matchmaking, they tried to prioritize making the best experience possible for the biggest kingdoms. Because when you think about the amount of money that our kingdoms represent in terms of lifetime spend in Rise of Kingdoms, we're probably talking on the order of tens, if not hundreds. Probably tens of millions of dollars is actually reasonable. The lifetime spend of the players in these kingdoms involved has got to be tens of millions of dollars when all added up together, okay? So you would think that those kingdoms will get the priority for the very best matchmaking. The bigger your kingdom is, the more priority you have to make sure that if we can make a fair and balanced KvK, that you would get jammed into that fair and balanced KvK. So let's look at these kingdoms and their strengths. What you see before you is a tool called Rockboard, and I imagine that they aren't going to mind my using this data in a video, because normally people pay me for this sort of stuff because they're probably going to get a lot of views. So thank you, Rockboard, for the data. And by the way, if you'd like to send me some stuff to showcase in videos, I'd be interested in doing that. So let's just get a look here. the number one kingdom by power, which was queued up for this KvK, is 1556. Okay, and this data is fresh. It's in the last 24 hours this data has been pulled. 1556 at 30.7 billion Imperium power. What is that number? This is the combined power of governors that are in the top 300 by power in the kingdom, and governors that are over 150 million power just count as 150 million power. This is the same way that Lilith counts those players for matchmaking and Imperium purposes, okay? The number two kingdom was also queuing up. That's 1846 at 29.7 billion power. The number three kingdom was queuing up at 29.2 billion power. Okay, 1075 is the number 11 kingdom by Imperium power at 27.7 billion power. In addition, 1960 had queued up at 27.7 billion and 1306 at 27.6 billion power. By the way, for those of you that didn't know, I've talked a lot about Governor in my videos and streams on different occasions, pointing to how insane his equipment is. Okay, Governor is in 1960, right? Like, Swagger is in 1960. It's an insane KvK that would have unfolded if all 6 Imperiums would have ended up in that same KvK. And what's more is it's also really important to look at the top 300 players by power without actually capping really powerful players at 150 million. Because although Lilith does that for Imperium calculations, because if they didn't, it would just disincentivize players from getting lots of power, which they obviously don't want to do. If we look at these numbers, 556 shoots up a lot in power, man. They go up to 33 billion power, and that's just their top 300 players, by the way. Okay, that's just their top 300 players by power. 1846 shoots up as well to 30.8 billion. 254 shoots up to 30.2 billion. 1960 goes up to rank 4 from, like, what were they? Rank 13 by capped power and uncapped. Holy moly. Almost 30 billion power at that point, right? Big kingdom, very powerful. If we get a look at 1075, we jump up very little here. We go up to 28.3. 1306 shoots up a little bit in rank as well. So they go from 14th to 11th when you look at the power this way, and they're at 28.3 billion power. Wow. So this was looking to be an absolutely insane KvK. And the thing is that if you just looked at the top players by power, this does not even tell the whole story, because if you get a look at some of these kingdoms, and look, I haven't had time to look at every single one of these kingdoms, but if you go in depth, you see that, like, 556, and I apologize if I'm getting these numbers wrong. The intention is not to, you know, give misinformation or to be insulting anybody. I'm making a video. I'm trying to do the best I can. I'm moving pretty quickly here. But 556 has, like, 3 or 4 main alliances, right? 846 has, like, I don't know, like, somewhere between 8 and 10 main alliances, right? It's insane how many players they have. 254 has, like, 5 alliances. And 1075, we've got, like, 6 alliances, right? This is, like, the number of active players we have, not necessarily high power, but active players. So this was looking to be an absolutely massive KvK. And even with the 6 Imperiums all being very strong, I guess that Lilith felt like if they were going to put another one of those kingdoms into our war camps, like, it would have just imbalanced things in a way that the KvK couldn't happen. Now, I do know all the other kingdoms that queued up. Hold on, let me get that. Here is every kingdom that queued up for this KvK. For those of you that would want to take a stab at figuring out what would a fair set of camps be, here's the information about every single kingdom in this KvK. Also, I have another meme. So I had to slightly adjust this meme to be some poor duck with a D. I'm sure you can put 2 and 2 together here. But you've got 254, some poor duck, 1556, 846, 1075, all cutting the cake for this epic KvK. And then Lilith is off to the side. Oh, wait a minute. They're not holding a knife. Oh, no. No. Now, Lilith did give a, like, very detailed response. They were responsive to me within, like, an hour or so of the KvK matchup happening, as well as to other players who were asking their support the general support contacts. And someone who is obviously not giving a form response said, honestly speaking, there's just not enough neck-to-neck opponents for the top Imperium kingdoms this time. If more kingdoms registered, no kingdom would be in this situation. It does rarely happen to us. We've applied it to our team for you, but we're sorry, there's no methods for us to put your kingdom into other Lost Kingdom maps while keeping the matchmaking balanced. Kindly wait for the next KvK registration. It may be 2 to 3 weeks. Thank you for your kind understanding, right? This is definitely not a form letter. This is definitely a human who is, I think, genuinely looked at the data that they look at for matchmaking, and I don't know what all of that is, okay? I know that Imperium power has something to do with it. I imagine that volume of players in a kingdom has something to do with it, activity, right? Like, all that stuff added up, and they looked at it, and they're like, we just cannot make it happen. So this leaves us with the so now what do we do portion of this KvK. Do we queue up again for Strife in probably not 2 weeks at this point, probably in a couple of days we'll get a pop again, because this entire process of matchmaking kind of takes 2 weeks. So in probably a week or so, maybe, or less, we'll get a pop again. Do we try to queue again? Do we try to find more Imperiums? Do we try to just get as many kingdoms as possible to all register for the same KvK and hope that it turns into the sort of legendary, insane KvK that we all think it could be? That's all possible. I know Dragothian created an account in this kingdom. Well, created an account. He migrated an account here, as you saw in my video, card up in the top, where he was trying to get to 30 million kills with a 30 million power account. Like, I don't know that he can do that. I don't know if he's going to try. He's really giving it all. I mean, I've never seen Dragothian try hard more than I've ever seen him try hard in this game right now. Like, he is actually running around killing all the Guardians. Like, he is super hardcore tryharding to do the best he can do with this account. And like, hey, he's up from 33 million power to 34 million power, but I don't know how with this account in such a tough KvK, he's going to get the 30 million kills. But I think that project is still on. I think everything is still on. The question is just when. Can we get the dream KvK that we're looking for? Can it happen soon? And now that 846 has skipped 4 times, and it doesn't even matter that this last time was not really their choice. They queued up. They wanted to fight, right? The first 3 times they were like, hey, like, it's recovery from this hard KvK we had. And they were one of the first kingdoms I know to go to a 4th skip. Okay, to a 4th queue is what I should say. And a 4th skip, as it turns out. But to the 4th queue, where, look, the rules themselves say, if you did not participate 3 times in a row, you will automatically be registered to a random story during the next registration period. But in speaking to the developers, we learned that it's not a random story. In fact, you get to choose, and if you don't choose, then you get put to a random story. So in the 4th time, they still got to choose. What happens in the 5th time? Has any kingdom ever gone to 5 pops? I think, if I had to guess, the 846 will be able to choose. And I mean, I don't know, we'll all figure it out together. If I'm being perfectly honest, like, I'm participating a small amount in like the banter that's going back and forth about skipping and tickets. But like, let me just clarify that I genuinely have really nothing against any of the players in any of these kingdoms. Nothing is personal, with the exception of one player in 846 who was a real duck to me. Let's just say it like that. And they know who they are. And most of the people in 846 knows who this person is. Like, they were just unnecessarily out of nowhere kind of a jackass to me. But other than that one person in 846, like, honestly, I have nothing against anyone. It's not personal. So any jokes, any jabs, any, you know, like my 8 Imperiums. I wish it was 8 Imperiums. My 6 Imperiums walk into a bar joke. Like, I get I took a slight jabs a couple places. Okay. And I'm just building hype for this KvK. It's not personal. All right. So everybody take it easy. Okay. Hopefully we can find a fun KvK. And you know, if it's not all of us in the next Strife, I mean, I don't know what it's going to be. I don't know what it's going to be, but hopefully we can have a fun one. If you enjoyed this video, you're hyped for whatever the heck we come up with next for how the path forward works out. If you just want to see that, throw a like on here, consider subscribing. And until next time, you have fun skipping the KvK. No, wait. You have fun You have fun. Queuing but getting nothing. No, wait. You have fun. You have fun. Finding an opponent that's worthy. Yes, find an opponent that is worthy.